What do Mosquito Bites, lipstick sales, and men's underwear have in common? Apparently, they've all predicted a financial crash. Yeah, not stock prices, not interest rates, not economists on TV. Lipstick. It's something called a weird indicator, a strange random behavior that ends up revealing something serious about the economy before the official numbers catch up. And once you start seeing these signs, you'll notice them everywhere. Like when people start squeezing toothpaste tubes like they're mining gold. Or when luxury food disappears and everyone's eating microwave noodles again. There are dozens of these weird signals. And today, you're going to learn the ones that actually show up right before the economy crashes. They're real, they're bizarre, and you've probably done a few of them yourself without realizing it. Let's start with one of the most famous, lipstick. During every major recession, one thing consistently goes up. Lipstick sales. It's called the lipstick index, and it's not a joke. When people can't afford expensive luxuries, like vacations, new gadgets, or shopping sprees, they still want something that makes them feel good. A small comfort, a little reward. So instead of buying a $500 handbag, they buy a $10 lipstick. It's affordable, it feels luxurious, and it's just enough to lift your mood, especially when everything else feels uncertain. This pattern showed up after September 11th. It showed up during the 2008 crash. It even showed up in the early months of COVID. And the weird part? It often spikes before the recession officially hits. Because people feel the tension coming before the headlines do. So when lipstick starts flying off the shelves, something bigger might be around the corner. This next one might sound ridiculous. Men's underwear. Specifically, how rarely it gets bought during a financial downturn. Here's the logic. Underwear isn't something people show off. It's not fashionable. It's not social. It's just basic. So when money gets tight, guys tend to delay replacing it. No one's going to notice, right? But economists do. In fact, Alan Greenspan, the former head of the US Federal Reserve, used to track men's underwear sales as a way to gauge economic health. He believed that when underwear sales drop, it means people are quietly cutting back on the bare essentials. Because that's what happens when a recession is brewing. People stop spending on even the most boring things. So if sales are flat, it might mean the economy is too. Mosquito bites. Yes, those annoying little things you slap in the summer. They've actually been linked to the economy. Here's how. A warmer winter usually means more mosquitoes come spring and summer. More mosquitoes means people spend more money on things like bug spray, air conditioning, window screens, or medical treatment in some areas. And all of that drives higher utility bills and surprise expenses, which means people cut back in other areas. They delay shopping, eat out less, and hold off on big purchases. And those little shifts in behavior, they add up. Some researchers even found that heavy mosquito seasons in certain regions were followed by drops in consumer spending and local growth. It's not the mosquitoes themselves causing the crash, it's what they represent. Unexpected costs, caution, discomfort. And in economics, that's usually the first crack in the wall.
Toothpaste tube squeeze.
You've probably done this one without even realizing it. Squeezing the toothpaste tube just a little longer than usual. Not because you forgot to buy a new one, but because you're trying to stretch it. It sounds like nothing, just a tiny habit, but that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Economists look at subtle behavioral changes like this. Things people do when they start feeling uncertain. You start scraping out the peanut butter jar, cutting your own hair, using less soap, making coffee at home instead of buying it. It's not about being poor, it's about being cautious. When millions of people quietly shift into stretch mode, the economy can feel it. It's like watching everyone take one small step back, all at once. And toothpaste tubes, they're one of the first places that hesitation shows up. Let's talk about food. But not just any food, caviar and hamburgers. Economists sometimes compare the sales of luxury items, like caviar, to cheap comfort food, like fast food burgers. The idea is simple. When people feel confident, they treat themselves. When they're stressed, they downgrade. So when caviar sales drop and hamburger consumption spikes, it usually means something deeper is going on. Rich people cut back first. They stop importing expensive wine or seafood. Middle-class families switch from dine-in to drive-through, and lower-income households start skipping meals altogether. Tracking those shifts creates a strange but useful ratio, the caviar to hamburger ratio. And when it tilts too far toward burgers, yeah, not a good sign. Because people don't stop eating caviar just because they're bored. They stop because something feels off. Now let's look at something a little more practical. Used car prices. In a stable economy, used cars slowly lose value. That's normal. But when the economy starts getting weird, used car prices go haywire. Sometimes they shoot up because people can't afford new cars. Sometimes they crash because no one wants to spend money at all. Both are bad signs. During the COVID years, used car prices skyrocketed. In some places, old rust bucket cars were selling for more than they were worth brand new. It wasn't just inflation, it was fear. People were uncertain, and uncertainty makes people act strange with their money. The used car market became a mirror, reflecting panic, hesitation, and supply chain problems, all at once. So when people start overpaying for a 15-year-old Toyota, or dealerships suddenly slash prices across the board, economists start paying attention. Because cars aren't just transportation, they're one of the biggest things people finance. And if that market looks off, it usually means something bigger is coming. Here's one you probably didn't expect. Hair dye. Specifically, how much of it gets sold when the economy starts to wobble. During times of job insecurity or economic stress, people get anxious, and they want to look younger, fresher, more hireable. So they cover their gray hairs. It's not vanity, it's survival instinct. Hair dye sales went up during the 2008 crash. They spiked again during COVID. And they tend to rise quietly in times when companies start laying people off. Because no one wants to walk into a job interview looking like they haven't slept since 2019. In economic terms, it's called a confidence compensator, a small way people try to stay competitive when the job market feels unstable. So when hair dye starts flying off the shelves, it's not just fashion, it's fear in a bottle. You don't hear about this one on the news, but it's one of the clearest early warning signs. Tractor sales. When farmers stop buying tractors, it usually means they're in trouble. And when farmers are in trouble, the economy isn't far behind. Tractors are big-ticket investments. Farmers only buy them when they're confident about next season. When prices are stable, demand is steady, and credit is easy to get. But when things feel shaky, they hold off. And that hesitation ripples out. Less equipment means less planting. Less planting means less food supply. Less supply pushes prices up. And suddenly, that small delay in one farm town turns into higher grocery bills for everyone. It's a silent signal. No one panics. No one posts about it. But economists track tractor sales carefully. Because when they drop, it usually means the people who grow our food are bracing for impact. And they're often the first to feel it. When the economy starts to slide, people don't always talk about it. But you know what they do? They start Googling things like how to make money fast, side hustles that actually work, best online jobs with no experience. Should I quit my job? Search data doesn't lie. When millions of people start typing the same desperate questions into the internet at the same time, that's a red flag. During every major downturn, online job search traffic surges, even before layoffs begin. People can feel something's wrong. Maybe their hours got cut. Maybe a friend just got laid off. Maybe groceries suddenly cost 30% more. So they start preparing, quietly, at home, on their phones. That digital panic doesn't show up on the news, but it shows up in the search bar. And when job boards, resume sites, and how to freelance videos start trending all at once, it's a sign. Not just that people are worried, but that they've already started looking for a way out. This last one isn't funny. It's not weird like lipstick or mosquitoes. It's diapers. When the economy turns unstable, one of the first things people put on hold is starting a family. They delay having kids, or they stop at 1 instead of 2 or 3. And that shows up in diaper sales. Companies that make baby products, diapers, formula, strollers, often report lower sales before a recession officially starts. Not because babies disappear overnight, but because couples don't feel safe enough to plan long-term. It's one of the quietest but most powerful indicators of economic fear. Because when people stop preparing for new life, it usually means they're still trying to survive their current one. Ramen isn't just a college thing, it's a recession staple. Cheap, fast, filling. When people start buying it in bulk, it usually means one thing: they're cutting food budgets. Grocery stores actually track ramen and instant noodle sales during downturns. The pattern shows up every time the economy starts to shake. 2008, COVID, even the early 2000 crash. It's not just the poor buying it either. Middle-class families stock up too, because when prices rise everywhere else, comfort food becomes survival food. So when shelves start clearing out and everyone's got boxes of noodles in their carts, it's not just about flavor, it's about fear. When people start pawning things or selling jewelry, that's not budgeting, that's desperation. During recessions, pawn shops get busier. Gold for cash ads spike. More people sell off personal items just to stay afloat. Watches, instruments, tools, old phones. And when gold buying stores start popping up again in strip malls or gas stations, that's the real-world version of an economic warning siren. People don't sell family heirlooms because it's fun. They sell them when they're out of options. And that wave of quietly selling off pieces of your life happens long before the numbers ever say recession. You probably didn't think lipstick, mosquito bites, and ramen noodles could say anything serious about the economy. But that's the point. The economy doesn't crash all at once. It cracks slowly through quiet decisions people make every day. Buying cheaper meals, skipping a haircut, holding off on a baby, stretching toothpaste, selling old jewelry, Googling how to make rent. None of these things scream recession on their own, but together, they start telling a story of hesitation, a loss of confidence, and people doing whatever they can to hold on to control, in a system that feels more unpredictable every year. So the next time you see someone walking out of a pawn shop or grabbing the cheapest instant noodles off the shelf, or nervously dyeing their hair before a job interview, it might not just be a coincidence. It might be a signal, and there are a lot more of them out there. You've just seen 12. The full list has over 40. So here's the question: which one surprised you the most? And what weird signs have you seen lately that nobody's talking about? Drop them in the comments.